If you study World War II long enough, a pattern becomes obvious. The machines that shaped the war weren't always the fastest, heaviest, or, the flashiest. Some were simply the ones that worked every single day without complaint. The M7 Priest is the perfect example. It didn't dominate highlight reels, it didn't have the sleek silhouette of a Panther or the brute armor of an IS-2. What it offered instead was reliability, mobility, and honestly, an uncanny ability to be everywhere at exactly the moment infantry needed it. This is why historians still call the Priest one of the most important artillery platforms of the war. And when you climb inside, figuratively or literally, the design choices make it obvious why soldiers trusted it like few other machines. Before the M7 came along, U.S. artillery doctrine still relied heavily on horse-drawn guns and semi-mobile pieces dragged behind trucks. That setup worked in World War I, but World War II battles moved too fast. Armor pushed through lines in hours, not days. Infantry outran their own guns. Commanders needed a weapon that could follow tanks, keep pace with the front, and fire powerful indirect rounds within minutes. The solution was simple. Put a heavy 105mm howitzer on a tank chassis and let it move under its own power. The chassis chosen was the M3 or M4 medium tank base, proven, rugged, and easy to maintain. What emerged was a vehicle the crews instantly trusted. It was the perfect middle ground between mobility and firepower. It delivered serious punch without forcing gun crews to haul ammunition by hand across muddy ground or frozen fields. The moment you step through the open fighting compartment, the first thing you notice is space. Unlike a Sherman's cramped interior, the Priest gave its crew room to work. Ammunition racks lined the sides, exposed but efficient. The gun dominated the compartment, mounted offset to the right to stabilize recoil and leave space for crew movement. The 105mm M2A1 howitzer sits low and squat, surrounded by elevation wheels, recoil cylinders, and simple controls designed for speed over elegance. A well-trained crew could load and fire rounds every 15 seconds. That rate of fire really mattered. In World War II, artillery speed killed just as much as accuracy. Along the left side, a raised circular platform juts upward, the reason for the Priest's nickname. Crews called it the pulpit. The British coined the term first, noting that the ring-mounted 50-caliber machine gun position made the vehicle look like a church pulpit with a priest manning it. The name stuck instantly. The pulpit wasn't just cosmetic, it protected the gunner and gave him a commanding field of fire against low aircraft, charging infantry, or sudden ambushes. Many crews swore that the 50 cal saved more lives than the 105 itself. The Priest worked because the crew worked. 7 men operated the vehicle: driver, commander, gunner, assistant gunner, and 3 loaders. Each had a job that connected directly to the next 3 seconds of survival or efficiency. Loaders didn't simply throw shells into the breach, they retrieved the round, selected the correct powder charge, cut or removed propellant bags depending on the required range, loaded the projectile, and prepared the next shell before recoil even finished. The gunners had to read fire orders under stress, dial elevation and traverse with microscopic precision, and correct fall of shot by voice alone. Inside the Priest, you don't really think about the machine itself. You think about how tightly choreographed the entire operation feels, like a workshop where 7 specialists are performing the same motion thousands of times until it just becomes a rhythm. Combat reports show an interesting pattern. Infantry absolutely loved the M7 Priest. Whenever they radioed for support, a battery of Priests could break up a German counterattack in just a few minutes. Crews fired in mud, snow, rain, and desert heat, and the guns almost never jammed. The vehicle rarely threw tracks, even when it was overloaded with ammunition boxes stacked anywhere they would fit. It was also incredibly adaptable. The British created a variant called the unfrocked Priest, removing the pulpit entirely. Canadians turned Priests into armored personnel carriers called kangaroos. Some were converted into mobile command posts, ammunition carriers, and even mine flail test beds. This flexibility is why the platform lasted into Korea, and why some countries kept using them well into the Cold War. The priest teaches several practical lessons worth applying today. First, simplicity wins wars. A system that functions in mud and chaos is more valuable than a masterpiece that breaks down in perfect conditions. Second, logistics matter as much as firepower. The priest wasn't just a gun, it was a delivery system for consistent artillery support, and armies depend on consistency more than anything else. And finally, the crew matters more than the machine. The M7 became legendary not because of some technical innovation, but because ordinary soldiers mastered it under stress and used it effectively. The M7 Priest didn't dominate battlefield photography or post-war documentaries, but if you look closely at every major Allied advance in Europe and the Pacific, you'll find priests quietly shaping the outcome. A machine doesn't need glamour to be great. Sometimes it just needs to work every single time the crew calls on it. If you want more deep-cut World War II machinery breakdowns, rare weapons, and forgotten frontline stories, make sure to subscribe and share this video with fellow history fans.